So, Purim, welcome. Let's start. What is it all about? So, like we said, first of all, this is a special meeting because we conclude a full year. We'll see in a minute that we started. Well, I didn't plan this, but we started with Passover, which was it's like in the Jewish year of holidays. It's the first one. It's the first month. So Purim, the month of Adar ends the Jewish calendar month. So we completing. We did like I think all the holidays or all the main holidays. So it's nice. So this is concluding because like in a month from now we have Passover and we already did that. So this is really nice that we did manage to do the whole year. So like we said in all of the holidays, that holidays in the Hebrew tradition are not just that we remember something that happened and say, "Whoa, it was so great that it happened." No, holidays in the Hebrew meaning it comes from the word Chag. We said Chag, it goes around in circle. Only if this special energy and spiritual light that came to be in that time in the history, if it comes again and again every year, then we'll make it into a holiday. And every holiday has some a spiritual essence to it, a special essence to it, and there's special things that we have to do to get that light. So, for example, we said that in Rosh Hashanah it's about being renewed, and what you have to do it's about hearing the shofar sound. And in Passover is breaking free, and during Passover you eat matzah and do the Leila Seder and drinking the wine. And in Hanukkah it's about lights, and you have to light the Hanukkah candles. So also Purim is no exception, and Purim is the holiday of joy. It says, "Mishenichnas Adar marbin besimcha." When the month of Adar enters, which now we're in the month of Adar, we increase in joy, okay? Because Purim is the time of joy. It's not just joy about, happy joy and partying. It's a deeper, more subtle joy. Um, we'll try to touch that. So Purim is the holiday of joy. Now, if we look before that, you see that this is like a slide from Jewish Americans, what they think, what is the most important holiday for them. So you see, Purim is not even on this list. But Purim is actually a very special holiday. It's above all the other holidays. Why? It is said that in the future, okay, when like there's going to be a new era of humanity after Messiah comes and things like that. So the holidays will actually be nullified because there's going to be so much light that the light of the holidays will be like mundane, like a regular thing. But because Purim comes from a higher place than all the other ones, it is not going to be nullified also in the future. Okay, so this is a special holiday. Okay, this is in the Kabbalah. They explain exactly where it comes from. So very special holiday. So what happened in Purim? Why are we celebrating this time? So in Purim, very much like in Hanukkah, there was a great turn of events from a near catastrophe, almost a genocide of annihilating all of the Jewish people. A great salvation and a breakthrough came to the Jewish people. Okay, it says "Venafochu." It was reversed, like it was everything was bad and devastating and no hope and darkness, complete darkness, and it became completely upside down. From the darkness came great light, and from a breakdown came a breakthrough. Okay, so turning dark into light. Okay, not just obliterating. No, I don't want the dark. Bring me something else. Give me the light. No, no. The dark becomes the light. Because of the bad things that happened, came a great salvation. And the Jews became way better off than they were to begin with. So turning darkness into light, bad into good, breakdown into breakthroughs, this is a part of what Purim is about. So a bit of historical context on Purim. When and where did the occurrence of the Purim occur? So we saw this before, so let's go through this again. So the brief history, like 1500 BC, okay, we have Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob with his family, because of the hunger in Israel, went to Egypt and became enslaved. After about 210 years, they went in a family and they went out a people. Okay, during Exodus, this is the month of Nisan, the holiday of Passover. We became the Israeli people. We were already a people, and this is the parting of the sea, and this is the Passover, Exodus, 1300 BC. And after 40 years in the desert, returning to Israel, 1200 BC, and building the first temple by King Solomon. This is the great temple. And after about 400 years came the Babylonian and destructed the temple and sent the Jews into exile of 7 years. And just at the end of this exile, this is where the events of Purim occurred. So briefly after Purim, the exile ended and the Israelites returned to Israel, built the second temple, which was also around for about 400 years. This was the time of Hanukkah, where the Greek Empire tried to pull the Jewish away from their spiritual path, but they fought them and managed to pull them away. But then came the Romans and destroyed the second temple and went again for exile, this one for 2,000 years, but eventually we also came back. So, and built the Israeli state. So now we're focusing on Purim, which was at the end of this first exile of 70 years, just before we came back. Okay, so in the Jewish calendar, although many people are confused, they think because in the month of Tishrei it is Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, they think this is the first month. It's not. Okay, it's where, if you remember in Rosh Hashanah, it's the day that Adam was created, like first man was created, like in heaven, in paradise, in Gan Eden, Garden of Eden. So this is where we get renewed each year. We get energy for a new year, but it's not the first month of the year. The first month is the month of Nisan, and the last month is the month of Adar. So in this cycle of all the holidays, it completes in Adar, which is like, if it's a movie, it's a really great ending if you end it here, because after the exile, we had to confront the villain that we'll meet in a minute of Haman, and we managed to win, and we came back to Israel and we built the temple and almost lived happily ever after. If you stop here, so it's a great ending. So in the ending of the cycle of the holidays of the year. So what is the story of Purim? It's told in the scroll of Esther, Megillat Esther. I won't go over the story because it's a whole plot. I really recommend that you read it in English or in Hebrew, or catch a short movie about it. But like in 2 sentences. By the way, this is a link. I'll give you a link about, this is like screenshots from a movie of like 3 minutes or 5 minutes of the scroll that are really, so like takes also the highlights. So you can, I'll give you the links after. So Haman, the all-powerful minister of King Ahasuerus, that was the head of the Persian Empire then, persuaded the king to issue a royal order that on the 13th of the month of Adar, all Jews will be killed throughout all of the empire, okay, which was almost all the world. So it was like a national kill all the Jews day. Who can kill them? Everybody who wants to, all their enemies, all they hate them, they can kill them, take their all their belongings, and it's royal. You have royal consent to do so. Why 13th of Adar? He did like a lottery to see what is the best date to do that, and this was the date that came out. And so everybody was sure this is the end. There's nothing we can do, and then came the story of how Mordechai and Esther managed to turn the king against Haman, how Esther came into the palace, and this a whole turn of events. So managed to turn the king against Haman, save the Jews. Eventually, Haman was killed, and on Adar the 13th, the day that was supposed to be the annihilation of the Jews ended up vanquishing their enemies. And the day after that was the day of great joyfulness. So still, this is where we celebrate Purim, like the day after the 13th of Adar. So this is like the highlights, but really recommend you to read the plot. It's really nice one. So what rituals? I said that in every holiday we have some things, very physical, specific things that we have to do that we become good vessels for this special spiritual light of the holiday. So what do we have in Purim that we do? So first of all, there's a fast. One day before Purim, Ta'anit Esther, the fast of Esther. Why? It's from dawn to nightfall. It's in memory of the fast of 3 days that Esther requested from the Jews after the decree. So after this decree that they said that all the Jews will be killed, Mordechai told Esther, you have to go to the king, but she said, I cannot go because there is a law that if you go to the king without an official invite, they kill you. Okay, this is the law. You cannot go. They will kill you. They said you have to do that. So I said, okay, before I do that, please go gather all the Jews and fast for my sake for 3 days. So maybe I will manage to survive this. And I really managed to survive. She came to the king and started a whole conversation with him. So this is Ta'anit Esther. So we fast before Purim, dawn to nightfall. And in Purim itself, we have a few things that we do. We'll see it's to increase joy and communion. It says in the scroll that in the days of Purim, Yemei Mishte v'Simcha, Mishloach Manot, Matanot Levanim, what are these? Days of a feasting and merrymaking. Okay, you have a feast, sending gifts to one another. This is Mishloach Manot, it's gifts of food, so everybody can have this meal. And presents to the poor, you also give presents to the poor. So again, so there's not going to be anybody that can join and be part of this Purim. So there are a few specific things about this. So we said, first thing, matanot le'evyonim, give to the poor. What does it mean? It says you have to give charity to at least 2 Jewish people in need. How do you know? First of all, how much? How much is a simple meal's worth? Okay, some people say it's like 20 shekels, 50 shekels, so depends how much, but it's around something like that, like a simple meal. So for 2 people, when on the exact day of Purim. So people already give it, but they give it, for example, to charities, and the charities hold it, and on the day of Purim, they give it to the poor. So because if you give it for Matanot Le'Avyonim, you know that you can give it whenever you want, and they give it for you on the actual day of Purim. This is the first thing that you do, Matanot Le'Avyonim. The second thing, Mishloach Manot, sending gifts of food. On Purim day, give at least 2 kinds of ready-to-eat food or drink items to at least 1 Jewish person. So you give a Mishloach Manot when, again, on the exact day of Purim, what originally it was food for a meal, but it became a custom to give sweets and snacks. So if you thought about giving pasta to someone, actually sweets work usually better. And you're likely to find also this strange cookie. It's a traditional Purim cookie called Ozen Haman, Haman's ear or Haman's stash. So it's like a dough filled with chocolate or other sweet things. So this is the second thing, Mishloach Manot, Ish Lereu. And the third thing, Mikra Megillah. You have to listen to the scroll, to the Megillah, the story of Esther, twice. Once on Purim Eve, on the evening when Purim enters. So this year it's like on Saturday evening. And again on Purim day, on the day in the morning, they read it. Actually, they read it all through the day. If you go to a Bet Chabad, a Chabad house, whenever you go, they always read so people can hear the scroll. So you have to read it from the scroll. People reading it not just from a book, but from there, but whatever you have. But this is you have to read from the scroll. And when they're reading the scroll, you remember Haman, the villain that wanted to annihilate all the Jews. So every time, it's like a tradition that every time that the name of Haman is mentioned, everybody makes noise in their graggers or rattlers, like they make loud noises. They said this is to wipe the name of Haman and of all evil. Okay, so we have to wipe it away. Okay, by the way, we said that Haman was the Amalekite, okay? The Amalek, it's like an ancient people, one of the most ancient and fierce and cruel enemies of the Jewish people ever since the Bible. How do you recognize them? You can't recognize them, but if they will do whatever they can just to kill Jews, because this is how they recognize it throughout history. Okay, so this was Haman that wanted to kill all the Jews. They said it was also in Nazi Germany, so people attribute it to them. So this is in the Bible. It said you have to wipe this Amalek. So this is why you also we do the sound to wipe it. So if you hear the word Amalek, this is like a very ancient enemy. And in this Shabbat, or always in Shabbat before Purim, they read about Amalek also, because Purim is about the fight of Amalek also. So Mikra Megillah, about everything that happened in Purim. This is the third thing that we do. And we talked about the Gregor. If you remember, we talked about in Hanukkah that both in Hanukkah and in Purim, we spin things. Why? Because there was astounding turn of events from darkness to light. But there's also a difference between them. Okay, in Hanukkah, you spin it from the top. It's top down because there are many miracles. The few and the weak beat the great army of the Greeks, the many and the strong, and the menorah, the light that burned from 8 days, even though there was enough only for 1 day. So you really see the hand of God at work, like miracles beyond nature. In Purim, it's bottom up. It's from people. The name of God is not mentioned even once in the scroll. It's all about the people, and Esther did that, and Mordechai said that, and how. So there, everything is very mundane. So no God or miracles at sight. And also, by the way, in Hanukkah, it was about a spiritual obliteration. They didn't want to kill the Jews; they just wanted to separate them from the spiritual path. And in Purim, the exact opposite. Again, like Nazi Germany, they didn't care if now, okay, I'm not a Jew, I want to be a priest, a Christian. We don't care, we kill you anyway. Even your grandmother was a Jew. So it's about physical annihilation. And in Hanukkah, it's like a law that if there is a spiritual danger, so the response is physical. So they took swords and fought the Greek army. And in Purim, when there was a physical annihilation, they didn't prepare an army and went to fight Haman. No. It was spiritual. They went and they fasted and they prayed, and this came the turn of events. And fourth and last is the Mishteh. Mishteh B'Simcha. Enjoy a festive meal on Purim day, the day. There's a special meal that you have, and on this meal, it's a big thing to drink alcohol. Okay, it says you have to livsumeh v'pureh. You have to get drunk on even a little bit. Sometimes a lot. Sometimes a little is enough. But alcohol and getting drunk is a big thing in the Mishteh. It said one must drink on Purim until he cannot distinguish between cursing Haman and blessing Mordechai. Like everything gets mixed out, good and bad. And so it's according to Kabbalah, it said that after you did all this build-up, like in this festive meal, this is the highlight that you go where you reach the high spiritual light. And in this place, it's like a spiritual realm called Reisha Delight Yada, that it's beyond good and evil. It's beyond understanding. So you have like to shut down your mind a little bit so you can have access to this place. So this is according to Kabbalah, but usually everything people just drink and have parties in Purim, and this is also great because just being joyous. Of course, during this time, this specific year, because of the war and everything that's happening, everything is going to be much more mellow, but still definitely you will have Purim parties and activities. So this is all the parties that come from this Mishteh and about being drunk, drinking on Purim to get to that place. So many Purim parties usually in Purim. Now, what about the costumes? It doesn't say anywhere that you have to wear a costume on Purim. We said, yeah, you have to give to the poor, and you give, you hear the Megillah, and you do the feast. The costumes are not mentioned anywhere. It's a tradition from about the records of it for the past 1,000 years at least. And so some people say it started when they did like plays about Megillat Esther and people got dressed up like the main characters. So this is, and a very common explanation is more spiritual, that says that to remind us that God is dressed up hiding. Okay, like he's dressed up hiding in Megillat Esther. It's not mentioned specifically, God did that, but he's dressed up hiding. Right? That there are different places that they said, like if it says Hamelech and not Hamelech Achashverosh, it insinuates it is God and not just Achashverosh. So, and it's to let us know that the same way God is also dressed up hiding in nature and in life, even though we don't see it, he's looking, peeking from behind the scenes. So even the words in Hebrew, Megillat Esther, in Hebrew, Megalat Esther, okay? Megillah is to unveil, to uncover something, and Hester is something that's hiding. Okay, so to unveil and uncover what is hiding, what is peeking from behind the scenes. So people sometimes say this is why we dress in costume like God is dressed up also in life, hiding behind different costumes. But again, either way, silly costumes was great in Purim for being joyful, drinking, celebrating. So this is a big thing of Purim, also in costumes. And another thing that you have in Purim is an Adloyada. It's the Purim parade. Some cities host an Adloyada, which is like a Purim parade with music and dancers and costumes and huge puppets and things like that. So it's great to catch one with children. Again, this year, they're canceled due to the situation, but look them up next year. But you have other Purim events that you can catch, which again are more mellow, but still you can get a taste of the holiday. And last but definitely not least, one of the main messages from Purim, it says that when Haman went to King Ahasuerus and told him that I want you, I want you to give me like a royal order, the decree to annihilate all the Jews. And Ahasuerus said, I don't think it's possible. People tried throughout history to do that. It's like they have superpowers. You cannot do that. And if you try, bad things happen to those who try. But Haman said, no, you don't get it. Now they are, it says they are Am Echad Meforad Mefuzar. They are scattered, dispersed. They are divided. Okay, they are divided. When he said that, so they lost their superpower. When they are divided among themselves, they're weak, and this is the good shot that we can get them. And he was right, and he managed almost to do what he wanted, but then came Esther and Mordechai. And what did Esther tell Mordechai? Lech knos et kol hayudim, go and gather all the Jews. This is what started the turnaround, that everybody became together. And finally, on the day of Purim itself, on the 13th of Adar, what happened? Nikhalu hayudim. Okay, it said that the Jews gathered in their cities throughout the provinces of King Ahasuerus to attack those who sought to harm them. And when they did that, they gathered together, no man stood in their way. And for fear of them had fallen upon all the nations. Okay, all those who planned how they're going to kill the Jews, they had no way to do that because again the Jews were together. In other words, like from we have today, ביחד ננצח, when we're together, we're stronger. So that's it for me. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. I'll put the links here about the story of Purim. This is actually not in Hebrew. This is in English. This is from a previous presentation. So I'll give you the links that explains a bit about what we said. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, can I just ask a small question?
Sure.
Uh, I always wondered what is the right name? Is it like Purim or Purim? Because I heard both.
Mhm.
So what is the correct?
Uh, I think you can say both. I think that Purim is more like a street Purim, but
Uh-huh.
Purim is more like official. Holiday
Oh,
of
okay,
Purim.
good.
In Hebrew, it's called Mil'el Milra. If you put the emphasis on the beginning of the word or the end of the word. So usually when you put it on the end of the word, like Purim, it's like more official. When you put it in the
Hmm.
beginning, it's more like slang, Purim. Yeah,
Okay,
so,
got
so you
it.
can say both.
Thanks, Ran.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay, so have a happy Purim. I encourage you to do some of the things, to hear the Megillah, to find some Purim event, to definitely see a movie, or even the best is to read the story of the Megillat Esther, all the events, how it happened. It's like great story. I didn't have time to go into it here, but really I recommend, definitely with the children also, but also for yourselves. So thank you for listening.
Thank you,
Thanks
Ran,
so
for your
much.
time
Thank you.
and for your
Great.
effort.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Sure. Have a
you.
happy Purim, everybody.
Bye,
You
everyone.
too.
Happy
You
Bye,
too.
Purim.
Samet.
Bye.
Bye.
Hag
Bye bye
Sameach.
Sameach.
bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.